Welcome to Insider Insights Podcast, a place where we dissect everything social media. I'm Theo, content writer at Socialinsider and a longtime fan of everything social. Every month, I'll talk to social media professionals who work in freelance, in-house for a company, or in an agency environment to get the best of all worlds. So grab your coffee and let's jump in. Today's episode is all about finding inspiration for your content strategies and educating audiences in fun and creative ways. My guest for today is Andreea Mehedin, the social media manager at Creatopy. She is a young, enthusiastic communication specialist with 4 years experience in PR and social media. She has a healthy and active lifestyle, plays the piano, loves books and cooking, but most importantly is fascinated about the world of advertising and marketing. Let's meet Andreea. Hi, Andreea. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. It is a pleasure to have you as my guest. How are you?
Hi, Theodora. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm very good, thank you. Actually, I'm starting my week in a very, very pleasant way.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So let's start this episode by getting to know you a little bit better. How would you describe yourself in a few words?
Oh, I don't know why, but most of the time this seems like such a difficult question, but that's probably because it somehow turns out to be your own pitch, but I promise to give my best. So here we go. I am Andreea Maria Mehedin, a young, enthusiastic social media and communication specialist with a 4 years social media and PR background and an MA in international communication management at the University of Southern Denmark. I work both in-house for Creatopy and as a freelancer for small and medium businesses. If I were to describe myself, I would say that I am an ambitious, intuitive, and creative person. I am open-minded, fun, sassy, courageous, in love with the human mind, and sometimes a little bit more anxious than I should. I love doing sports, trying new things, cooking, slow summer mornings, and margaritas. I'm the type of person who is fully committed to all the things I say yes in my life. And one of the things that most people don't know about me is the fact that I play the piano. Also, I like to call myself a proud Frenchie owner. So that's about me.
That's so nice. I actually can relate to a lot of the things that you said. And I'm also a proud cat owner. So
that's really cool.
It's awesome to have animals. They really change your life. Tell us, how did you start your career?
Oh, my career started while I was doing my bachelor's degree and I was working as a waiter for a summer job I had in a smoothie and coffee shop in my hometown, Sighișoara. It was a very small business that was also selling and emphasizing local products, which I have to admit, I am a sucker for those kind of things. So I was obviously helping with more than what my actual job was there. And that was the point when I figured it out. I wanted to help the owner with more, and I wanted to help him promote its business in different kind of ways. So I remember the first initiative was to organize a cello evening, and in order to promote it, we made some flyers, we talked to the customers that were coming there, and we had some special offers. So yeah, long story short, this is how it all started. The world of advertising piqued my interest. I started to be curious in advertising, creative ways to sell products, copywriting, storytelling, and all those kind of things. And one of the factors that had a considerable impact on my decision was the fact that my father works as a communication specialist. So he genuinely made me fascinated by how the right words can always get you what you want. As a consequence, I later on applied for a master's degree at the University of Southern Denmark in international communication management. And there in my final year, I decided to follow my heart and come back to Romania to start an internship in a PR agency, where I worked for 3 years as a PR specialist. During this role, I had the opportunity to try so many things, from PR conferences to press monitoring to managing social media accounts to creative campaigns, organizing events when it was still possible to have them. And to brief the graphic design department and some account management. Here was the place that I actually discovered I really like social media, and that it's a true challenge to grow and to make your brand heard online. Not too many months apart, started working at Creatopy, which by the time I started in November 2020 was going through a big rebranding. So yeah, this is the story of how I became a social media manager.
That's quite a story, and I love that you mentioned that this passion towards communication runs in the family. I think that's really cute. Um, and yeah, actually, most of the social media managers I talked to told me that they didn't start their careers in social media, and they have all kinds of stories. So it's really nice to hear yours as well. Now, I know that a lot of people, especially the ones who don't work in this industry, have these stereotypes and think that, oh, social media managers are those who just scroll through social media platforms and this job is easy. And I know for a fact that this is not true and this job is quite challenging. So tell us, what does your day-to-day schedule look like? If you could walk us through your regular day.
Sure. First of all, it's a big trap that most of the people think that social media is easy. It's not an easy job.
Exactly.
And yeah, most of the time there aren't two days that look the same. Creatopy's social media department is a one-woman show, meaning that I am the social media department. So yeah, this is another reason why I don't get to have a rigid schedule, which makes my job even more challenging. Anyhow, one of the things I do right away when I start my day is to always check the notifications, scroll a little bit, and make sure that I answer all comments and mentions that we get. Then I have a daily check with my graphic designer and jump straight into my daily tasks. I manage all the content for Creatopy's 6 social media platforms. That means that I get to do the daily posts, create a calendar, boost posts, analyze, make reports, create strategies for different campaigns, write video scripts, briefs and copy for the creatives, and do research. I mean, you know the drill. On top of this, I have lots of online meetings and I collaborate with my colleagues from the marketing department and also with my colleagues from the customer support team when in need for help to answer our users' questions. So that's about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that a day doesn't look like the other one, but I find it really interesting that your every day starts basically the same. You navigate the internet, you read the news, and I don't know, read about all the trends that you have to adapt in your social media strategy.
I think all of us need a small routine before they go and start their day. So I think it's also healthy to know that you start your day in a certain way.
Definitely. It helps you concentrate. You told me earlier that you work both in-house for Creatopy and as a freelancer at the same time. Can you tell me how do you manage to do both? And what are the differences between these two jobs? Because usually social media managers do one or the other, not both at the same time.
Yes, I won't lie that it's easy. It's challenging, but it's an experience and opportunity worth taking, especially if you want to have a taste of both worlds and in the end to see what suits your needs. Working as a freelancer means being your own boss, finding projects, standing up for yourself, promoting yourself, and knowing how to manage all your work and projects at the same time. Working in a company, on the other hand, means being able to work in a team, to brainstorm ideas together, and to work and focus on one single big project at a time. Both offer you opportunities to grow, but from a financial perspective, being a freelancer, it's riskier and harder. And that's mostly because nowadays, with the whole pandemic context, unfortunately, especially small business owners, will rather cut their budgets for their marketing and communication campaigns than to cut other costs. So yeah, that's one of the negative outcomes of this.
Mhm.
One of the benefits of working both in-house for a brand and as a freelancer is the opportunity to expand your portfolio and to diversify your work. Another important aspect is to consider is the fact that having a full-time job at Creatopy offers me the opportunity to do really great things for the brand, as opposed to my freelancing projects, for which I obviously don't have that much time left.
Yeah,
So
I
yes,
can imagine.
you really have the best of both worlds with their good and bad parts.
Yeah, like in any other job, actually. Yeah, I can imagine it's quite challenging, but I'm sure you have a lot of satisfaction as well from both of them in different ways, maybe, but I'm sure you do. Now, where do you find inspiration for your content strategies and campaigns? Because I can imagine it's quite challenging to come up with new ideas every time and stay relevant in this digital world of abundance.
Oh, yes. The good thing is that I truly believe you can find inspiration everywhere around you. What's important is to let yourself observe those things and, in the end, to connect all the dots and information that you have. The bad part is that we stay too much in front of, of the computer, and most of the times the spark you need to come up with that amazing idea happens when you go out for a walk, you do 1 hour of yoga, you read something, you name it, any kind of activity you enjoy. Just don't stay in front of your computer with a Google Docs opened. It's really important when working in a creative field to let your mind think things through. And besides this, obviously, it's mandatory to keep an eye on the competition, trends, news, media, and social media updates. So, doing your research is mandatory. Yeah, regarding this, I can share some tips with you and what I do to keep an eye on what's going on the market. I follow international events via social media or different outlets such as the New York Times, Vox, TechCrunch, or Social Media Today. I participate in conferences such as AdWorld. I always keep an eye on Twitter hashtags, Instagram trends. I follow Hootsuite's and Later's blog and social media, which are two incredible resources, both in terms of um, inspiration and know-how. And a good example to keep up with social media updates is to subscribe to a social media newsletter. And I will share a pro tip with you. So take a pen and paper and write. I have to give Matt Navarra's newsletter a shot. You'll thank me later. It's a lifesaver. Other than that, I listen to podcasts. For example, one that I really like is Social Minds from Social Chains, but never limit yourself to social media podcasts. Read books and especially literature, because it will definitely help you write better copy. Also, for me, LinkedIn is a great source of inspiration. There you can expand your network and find relevant people that have something to say. And last but not least, use tools that help you save time, like social media scheduling apps.
For
Yes,
sure, for
so
sure.
those will be my tips to share with you, and I think they're a good start.
Thank you so much for sharing those. I'm sure our listeners will benefit from them. And I can definitely agree with you on all that you said, especially Mendevara. He's the go-to person when it comes to trends and news in social media. Now, I know that we touched on this topic a little bit earlier, but if you could detail more on what are the most significant marketing challenges you have working as a social media manager?
Ooh, I think first of all is not getting lost in an ocean of information, because every single moment something happens out there in the world. So it's obviously that you cannot keep up with everything, but somehow you must find a balance in order to react on time and to be one step ahead when it's the case. Other big challenges are time management, availability, and constantly finding new and creative ways to create content and to address your audience in order to be relevant for them and to keep them engaged. yeah, I don't want to end on a negative note. So I really believe that at the end of the day, when you close your laptop, it's really important to know that you gave your best, and that you managed to find your own way to keep up with the news trends and all those updates.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I would like us to talk a bit about your company, the company that you work for. So, Creatopy is an ad design platform that helps businesses automate and scale up their ad production and delivery. What's it like to be the social media manager for a tech company that sells products or services to niche audiences?
It's challenging indeed. But one of the things I am really grateful for is the fact that I'm lucky enough to work in a marketing department where my ideas are embraced and trusted. And like I was previously tackling before, it's no easy job to always find new and creative ideas that, besides addressing your audience, they have to align with the company's objectives, mission, and vision. Also, when working on the organic side of a SaaS business, it can get difficult to reach the KPI goals and predict what kind of content your audience will like and will perform best. And on top of this, the ever changing landscape of social media, both in terms of app features and trends, can get exhausting. Anyhow, since we are a new company that just started this year, we are trying to educate our audience and to tailor our strategy according to their needs. It's an ongoing work. We do lots of tests and experiments to see what performs best. And at the end of the day, social media is the place to do experiments. Regarding our product and audience, Creatopy is a universal solution for people who need digital advertising, and especially for small and big businesses. Um, Regarding how niche we are, I'm not really sure, because if you think of the digitalized world we live in, everybody needs or creates ads.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we address advertising professionals from all over the world by helping them scale their ad production. And I guess we can all agree that nowadays time is the most valuable resource we have. So that's why we want to give creatives back their time to be creative. Just imagine that there are advertisers out there who manually resize all their designs to fit every single platform they want to do campaigns on. And with Creatopy, you not only create the design in app, but with only one click, you can resize that ad design in every size you need, all automatically. And there is so much more than that. Anyhow, this is what creative automation really is. It's working smart, it's automating your design process and scaling your ad production with efficient and intuitive tools.
Yeah, that's great. I've been following you guys for quite a while now, and I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. So tell us, how would you describe your company's social media strategy?
I would say educational and fun. We try to educate our community in a creative and witty manner to make the content and information attractive and easy to follow. At the base of our social media strategies, they are our blog articles. And that's mostly because our content team does such a tremendous and amazing job. So I repurpose the blog articles and juggle in between with new feature campaigns, memes, case study campaigns, design games, company features, polls, quizzes, showcasing app resources, tips and tricks, and webinar promotions. And although I have a plan that I follow, I always leave space for flexibility and more creative ideas that might just pop in spontaneously. Like I also mentioned, social media is the place to experiment. If you want to think about it, it's similar to an A/B testing. You have to go out there with your content and let your audience rate it. And I really love the fact that I get to do that here at Creatopy. One of the series, for example, that I really loved was called Advertising 101. And there we share different tips for creating ads. And for each tip, we had a famous ad design example. That was quite a successful series for us. We're also active as a community on Facebook. It's a dedicated Facebook group to our customers where we share exclusive content. So, yes, this is our social media strategy.
That's great. That's really great. Now, because our new normal looks a lot different than it used to because of the pandemic, I'm really curious, how did this pandemic change your company's social media strategy? If you can think about budgets, communication, team cohesion, whatever comes to mind.
Since we are a product that just launched in the pandemic, there is no before and after. Our strategy was adapted to the times we live in. But if I have to think about my own life, I haven't seen an office in more than 2 years. And yes, I'm working from home, and as much as I love it, sometimes it gets hard. On one hand, the pandemic gave us back the time we spent on commuting or doing other stuff. And it gave me, for example, the chance to be a freelancer as well, because that's how I actually managed to do it. But on the other hand, we are losing all that human connection and interactions that we need for team bonding and much more for our own mental health.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely has its positives and negatives. Now, moving on to my next question. What skills do you think you need to be successful as a social media manager? I imagine, and for a fact, I know there are a lot of people listening to these kinds of podcast episodes who want to become social media managers themselves, but don't know what skills should they develop. So if you could give some tips and tricks regarding those.
I think there are several skills that you will need. First of all, it's creativity. You need it in order to connect events to your brand, to develop concepts, to adapt trends and other concept your own strategy, even to write and create a strategy, to create content, and to be more specific, for example, how to transform a blog article into an interesting post. Secondly, there are good time management and planning skills, because you have to plan ahead and still be flexible at the same time. I mean, unpredictable events can happen all the time. Just think about, for example, in a SaaS business, a feature launch can be postponed, right? I mean, you have the launch today and then all of a sudden you found out it will be postponed. Those things happen, and you have to be quick and to respond fast to the events. Moving forward, I also believe that a good eye for details and some copywriting skills are quite in handy, but don't worry too much about the copywriting skills, because those practice will make them better. The more you write, the better you will write. And same with reading. The more you read, the better you will write. Then I also believe that curiosity and courage are very important for a social media manager. You need curiosity to be on top of trends, to be up to date with the news, with social media updates, and so on and so forth. And you need courage to make experiments and to learn from all your campaigns. Meaning that if you fail a campaign or it's not a really big success, don't take it as a failure, but take it as a lesson learned and see what can you do better and what can you improve on your next campaign. And last but not least is to know your own limits. You need to know how to set up your own limits, because you can be online 24 hours per 7. And in the beginning, for a social media manager, this might be quite frustrating because notifications are popping, and you need to know when to close the door.
When you need to take a step back, definitely. Yes. I definitely agree. And I think one other thing that I would like to mention here is just have fun. I mean, at the end of the day, social media is fun. So don't take yourself too seriously.
Exactly. Always. That's a very good advice.
Yeah. Even though it's hard work.
You're doing.
Yeah. For sure. Now, I have a question that I really love to ask every social media manager that I talk to. And that is, if you could teach me 3 things about social media management, what would you teach me?
To always have a well-tailored plan and strategy. Then you need the flexibility to adapt for a possible plan B, and never lose your courage to experiment and curiosity to discover and learn new things. Yeah, I think somehow they overlap with the things I was telling you previously, with
Yeah,
the skills that you need. Those are also the things that you learn to do better and better with time.
for sure, for sure. Okay, moving on to the last question of this podcast episode. If you can tell us what are your future plans and where can people find you and follow you?
I definitely want to try new things and more things to be even bolder with my campaigns and in the end to step up my game. I really wish to expand my team and to grow other social media enthusiasts. And I want to specialize myself and work more on the strategic side of social media. Yeah, but if people want to get in touch with me, they can find me on all social media platforms. But if they want to engage in a conversation and talk about social media communication, advertising, or anything in between, please do contact me on my LinkedIn profile. And I guess that Theodora will link it somewhere.
Yeah,
so
I will.
that you can find it. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It was a really nice conversation, and you shared a lot of insights that I'm sure a lot of people will find helpful.
Thank
so
you,
it was a
Theodora,
pleasure.
for this. Yeah, thank you, Theodora, for this invitation. It was also my pleasure to be here with you. And yeah, I hope that people will at least find one piece of information that they can use in their daily life.
I'm sure they will. Thank you so much.
Bye.